So now the question is this: what is the security? Again, the question is one: what is the security, or what the thing will we consider as a security, or the data security? All of us know about the data security, data protection. How you are going to be protected? This is the different thing, but you should know about the what is the protection. So first thing is you should understand about the protection. What is the protection? Protection means protecting the data from whom? Anybody. Who is not authorized cannot access the data. Who is not authorized cannot make the changes of the data. And always data be available. So there is a three terms. One is a confidentiality, another is a integrity, another is a availability. So what are the three things? One thing is a confidentiality, another is a integrity, and then is a availability. So confidentiality means data must be confidential and only the available for the authorized person only. If you are the authorized, you can see the data. If I am authorized, I can see the data, nobody else. And the same thing in a integrity means whenever the data in a rest, means storing the data in a hard disk, or when the data in a transit, means transmitting from one location to another location, must be protected. Protected means should not be integrated. Integrity, maintain the integrity. Should not be altered. Should not be viewed by the third party or the third person. Means only authorized person can check the data, read the data. Only authorized person can modify the data. And one more thing is the availability. Ensure whenever the data is required, it must be available. Whenever the information is required, it must be available. If and the data is not available on the time, so it is going to be impact on the business, impact on the data and the security. Okay, so three things: CIA triads: confidentiality, integrity, and the availability. Got it, guys? So now the things is good. Yes, I can maintain the confidentiality, I can maintain the integrity, I can maintain the availability, but how? How you can protect the data? If the data is stored in a plain text, anybody can read the data who have the hard disk. अगर किसी के पास hard disk है, he can read the data. The person who have the hard disk will connect in another laptop, desktop, and he can read the data as an external media if the data is stored in a plain text. So it is necessary whenever you will store the data, it must be in the form of the encryption, not in the form of the plain text. So now the question is this: what is the encryption? Of course, because I will encrypt the data. What is the encryption? Encryption is nothing, just a changing the plain text into the ciphertext. This is the ciphertext. So whenever the plain text is stored and changed into the ciphertext, the known as a encryption. And the same things means from the ciphertext, the data converted into the plain text known as a decryption. Means plain text to ciphertext known as a encryption, and the ciphertext convert into the plain text, so known as a plain text. So how this process happened, means encryption and decryption happened, it is the based on the key. One key is used for the encryption, and the same key or the differ key can be used for the decryption. It is depend on the types of the encryption or the algorithm. So what is the cipher? Cipher is the algorithm which is used for the encrypting the data. Maybe algorithm anything. For the mailing here, you can check here. This is the simple hello world. So it is written like this: RWOELDLOLH, hello world. So what the algorithm is used here is some shuffling. The shuffling process is happened and shuffle the character by the same algorithm or the one algorithm. The same algorithm will be used for shuffling the characters and created a plain text whatever it was the previously. So you can understand key is used for performing the algorithm. Okay, so now the question is this: what is the goal of the encryption? Why we need to do the encryption? The two things already. If the data is encrypted, so anybody will able to access of your hard disk, but he cannot read the data. He cannot read the data. Why? Why he cannot read the data? Because data is not written in a plain text. The data have been written in a ciphertext. So ciphertext is not easy to read. Even you don't have the key, you cannot read the data. So if any person or unauthorized person or the person who don't have the key cannot read the data. So the confidentiality will be maintained. Another is a integrity. There is a hash algorithm we will discuss later on, but hash algorithm will ensure the integrity of the data. Means data should not be altered in a transit or in a store. Another is a repudiation. Repudiation means nobody deny the later on I did not do that. You cannot deny, or the sender cannot deny I did not send this letter. So keep in mind all these things will be done by the encryption. Okay, non-repudiation, confidentiality and integrity. So goal of the encryption. Now the types of the encryption. Two types. One is a symmetric, another is a asymmetric encryption. Symmetric encryption, as its known name is a symmetric, means the something same is used. So what is the same is used? Password. The same password or the key is used for the encryption. The same key is used for the decryption. Means the same key or the one or the single key used in a encryption, the same key will be used in a decryption. It is called symmetric. Means one key is used for the both process, encryption as well as decryption. Another is a asymmetric key encryption. In a asymmetric encryption, there is a two mathematically related keys are exist. Two key here, because its name is asymmetric, means non-symmetric. So it means the same key is not used in an encryption and decryption. If the same is not used, then the different will be used. So different key is used. Different key means two keys. One key known as a public key, another is known as a private key. If the public key, public means publicly. So the public key will be sent to anyone or available for the anyone. Means you can use the public key, I can use the private key, and anybody who are going to be access the Google have the public key for the encryption and decryption. What is that process? We will discuss later on. Another is a private key, means the device or the application which is going to be encrypt the data by using the private key. Means private key will be used for the encryption the data from the server side or the application side, and the user side. Public key will be used for the encryption to decryption or the decryption for the both process. Now the public key will be used for the encryption and the private key will be used for the decryption. Means once the data will be encrypted by using the private key. It will be decrypted using the public key. If the data will be encrypted by using the public key, it will be decrypt by using the private key. The two process. What is the process is here? It is a quite simple process. Simple process means like this is the data and this data is encrypted by using the private key. So when using the private key, the data converted into the ciphertext. Now if you want to decrypt the data or decrypt the ciphertext, you cannot use the same key. You will have to use the another key. It is called public key. So public key will be used for the decryption the data. And the same things, this public key used for the encryption the data, then this encrypted data cannot be converted into the plain text by using the public key. Here is a private key will be used for decrypting the data. So encrypted data with the public key will be decrypt the data by using the private key, and encrypt data with the private key will be decrypt the data by using the public key. Quite simple and easy method for encryption and decryption, and symmetric and asymmetric encryption. Now the versus means public key and private key versus the different. So quite simple it is. The public key encryption means must be decrypted with the private key. Public key decrypt the data only means if the public key has done the encryption, so only the private key can decrypt the data. And if the private key or the public key used for the decryption, it must be used the decrypted with the public key. Means by private key, if the data encrypted, it will be decrypted by the public key. If the data encrypted by the public key, it will be decrypted by the private key. Goal is confidentiality. Only on the possessor of the private key on the read the data. And another goal is non-repudiation as well, means if the sender, because if you have the key, then you can only the decrypt the data. If I have the key, I can encrypt the data. Means if you will do the decryption, I can encrypt. So if I can encrypt, so I cannot deny later on I did not encrypted it, right? Yes, that is the reason it is called a non-repudiation, means later on you cannot deny. So there is a use cases. E-commerce website are using the public key encryption like the TLS or the HTTPS. You have written somewhere inside the URL on the front of the domain name, https://.google.com, and use key like a digital signature. So what is the digital signature, we will discuss later on.